Hiya. This video is about seeing through the propaganda matrix, and you think, oh, he's always making videos like that. The thing is, I seem to keep progressing. My mind keeps going on to the next, sort of seeing through more and more and more. So it's not, I don't like plans as such, but it keeps happening because that's the way the mind's working. So I want to talk about levels of seeing through, but I don't mean that literally. Everybody goes through this route to get to seeing through everything. What I mean is by the levels is that some people, a few people, I could imagine going through this route because it's I think there's just something to it. Is what I mean. So it might don't mean literally go through these levels, but these thoughts will come to a lot of people who see through. And to some extent it's literal, because if I say seeing through and then I put political people or prejudice or something, then everyone's got to see through that. Otherwise, they haven't seen through anything really. Instead, I'm on about prejudice that people have done nothing wrong. And so these are the not literal, but there's something to it, levels. Level 1, a basic level. Seeing through an asteroid of awfulness like Trump. Almost everyone in the UK sees through Trump. It's so simple. There'll be a tiny minority who don't, and that is just really dumb because he's quite obviously total crook. And you've got to pity those who can't even get to that. It's like a race starting, the firing gun goes and it just, guy doesn't move. It's just, to not see through Trump is just mind-boggling. From a UK perspective, of course, in America there'll be a kind of strand of his that gets propagandized, gets propaganda out there, and also in America there'll be this thing that, well, if you want to get it to the establishment, want to give it to them, want to harm them, then Trump's the guy because he's absolutely crazy. So some people will actually vote for Trump because he's crazy. You can see the logic of that. It's not. I'm not having a dig there, because if you want to get the establishment, you vote for someone who's crazy, who hates you. You know what I mean? Who absolutely despises you. But I mean, there we go. But the irony is that really, ultimately, Trump's in the establishment. I know it sounds a bit weird because he tried to start a riot to bring it all down. But if you're part of the political system, then you're propping it up still. See what I mean? You can't, and also, in fact, you can't bring down the government from within. The US Constitution is pro-establishment, so I think it's not going to let it happen. So they're herded in the cages in the States, and it's the same problem. It's the same. You can't get out. Anyway, level 2 is seeing through liberals, who, while they see through racist, sexist, homophobes, etc., they fail to see through capitalism and warmongers. Yet these things, capitalism and warmongers, especially warmongers, are even worse than racist, sexists, and homophobes. And just to compound this, their factory, capitalism, is a factory for creating prejudice and other discriminatory type people. So the fact that on level 2 you've got people who see through some things that have to do with prejudice, yet create more prejudice by supporting capitalism so passionately, because that's the inequality, and all that inequality creates resentment, and it creates scapegoating. So you've got to see through level 2. You've got to see through stage 2. It's because liberals are contradicting themselves. And the warmongering is as bad as the Ku Klux Klan. Now, it's not fashionable to say that because, like, you know, you get in at these liberal types who don't appear like that, but it's true. Level 3, seeing through oneself as infected by the propaganda matrix. Yeah, this is how I started to think last night, vaguely, and definitely this morning. I was really thinking that the propaganda matrix is so ubiquitous. It's just every day, it's everywhere, that it kind of like finds ways to pull you in back into it and to make the state superstructure stay strong and to stay forever. The propaganda matrix to stay strong, to stay forever. It wants evil to win, and it needs you to be evil. So see for ourselves as all evil, all part of this. It's definite. Me included, me evil too. Because if you don't see yourself as evil, then how on earth can you criticize yourself? So I've been evil, just as recently as yesterday. You get rid, you see, for example, well, I'll get to the examples a bit later, because I admit I'm reading my notes in front of me because sometimes these videos, like, they have technical hitches, the glitches, they don't work, the sound's not on, you have to do it all again. So although some of what I was saying a bit earlier about Trump and all that was just spontaneous, sometimes this video just doesn't play the sound when I play it back, and I've got to do it all again. So if I've just got to read notes, it makes it less irritating for me. Because I know that if I thought it was okay the first time, it'll be okay the second time. So it's just a matter of time. So on level 3, you need to get rid of the manipulation against you. Yeah, sure, you've always got to do that, but you've got to see through yourself as well. So all that anger used to see through, to see through the manipulation of you. You know, you have to see it's not worth the time and energy, but you have to make yourself innocent by eradicating all that infection that you have been given. So yeah, like, so for example, a way to get someone who's maybe seen through level 1, level 1 seen through the awfulness of someone like Trump, yes, the awfulness. Level 2, when you start to see through liberals who, while they see through racist, sexist, homophobes, they don't see through capitalism and warmongering. Now, this like sort of left liberal, even if they've gotten really radical and start even seeing through the warmongering, say, they still might be attached to symbols of power, what's on the liberal left, like John F. Kennedy, something like that, JFK. That's a great example. And if they are, the problem with that is it sucks them right back into that system, because JFK was still a system Democrat. He wasn't some hero who was going to see through the entire thing. You see, it's confusing because people say, oh, it's against propaganda state, it's against militarism, it's practically a pacifist. It's still an insider, it still keeps you in there, doesn't it? And if you're kept in there, you're enabling all of the propaganda matrix to continue. So it still sucks you right back in. So it doesn't count. It does not count. You have to see through JFK somehow. I'll just drop that. Do not identify with him at all. Someone like that, just get totally out of the system. Because just think that at the very minimum, people who are inside the propaganda matrix, inside the state system, are at the very least enablers and suck you back in type people. So despite the fact that JFK was anti-war and not a warmonger, he still sucks people back into the system that creates warmongering. So it's just an enabler. I mean, he's only got 2 terms if he'd never got assassinated. So, see what I mean? It's just totally like, I don't know. People can all see it if it's like a Nazi thing. You say, oh, well, someone's in the Nazi party, but they're not a Nazi. Everyone goes, that got a good, that'll do. Well, it's the same thing. If you're out, not in, out, shake it all about, it doesn't make sense. So we must fart on our heroes. That's what we must do. Remember it if I put it like that. They are not heroes. We ditch our heroes. We fart all over them. We tell them to F off. Because otherwise you're not doing everything we say we're doing. You see what I mean? We're just playing the same game as our enemies. Our enemies say, oh, I see through this and that. But then you think, you don't see through this. See what I mean? It's the same game. We are exactly as evil as they are. We are evil. We must cease being evil. So what is to be done then? Well, what the symbols of power? I mentioned JFK there, right? Imagine Germany, right? 1920s, being a patriot in Germany. Oh, what a good person. Pat on the back, pat on the back, pat on the back. By everyone, including liberals, right? But haven't therefore the liberals enabled what is coming up? See, when you look back, you can see it, because in post-World War II Germany, that pat on the back to the liberals for being patriots was gone. It was gone completely. It's evil. You mustn't be like that. No way. You know what I mean? It's like, no way. That sort of thing enables that. So, of course, it's best to do it the way I'm doing it, not wait for the big war to happen and then say, oh no, it's bad because it could enable stuff that's bad. It's best to prevent, it's best to get out of the system before it becomes evil because of you. So in that way, we're all evil because we're all enabling it. The best thing to do is to see being evil. Just like Germany should have done that, and they admit they should have done that. Another example, a miniature version of power symbols, not as big as JFK and German stuff. Liverpool, you probably get some people left saying, "Oh, Liverpool great? They're great because they all hate the state. They can't stand the state and all that." And it's really a stereotype. It's true if you say that's the case at Anfield on match day, but Liverpool's beyond football. You see what I mean? Don't play the game of making everyone it thinks like you or me, because they bloody well don't. And it's the same mistake our enemies make. It's saying everyone thinks the same. I'm sure if you go to Liverpool, there's plenty of people supporting England in the World Cup. Plenty of people not. That's the way it is. Not everyone thinks like you. You see, and why is it important to understand? Why is it better for you to understand that everyone thinks like you rather than being bad for you? It's not bad for you. It's bad for you to think everyone does think like you. That's some kind of narcissistic illness. It's better to think that everyone doesn't think like you without caveating it with, oh, well, most do or whatever, because that just gets back to the same mindset. Come on, let's be honest. If once you say, okay, I admit that everyone thinks like me, but most do, you're thinking, I'm just going to keep thinking the same way now. No, because I want to be neurotic. The best thing to do is to admit that people are not you. Full stop. That is the truth. People are not you. No one else is you. No one else. You can't have these power attachments because it doesn't work. No one else is you. So in Liverpool, it's not true that most people are on your side, whatever side you're on. It's ridiculous. It's just childish talk. It's psychologically insecure, that's for sure. I mean, just looking at my notes that I wrote. I mean, if you go around thinking, oh, well, they're great because they're thinking this in Liverpool or whatever, say it's, anti-state, then I just still think that somehow you are still identifying with power and you're still ripe for being dragged back into power in a sense that you're wanting something to happen, right? Now, let's imagine Liverpool, because that's some identification here for definite, we're admitting, isn't it? Somehow got some kind of power. You're somehow wanting them to become some power that you identify with, which then becomes corrupted because power corrupts. You see what I mean? It gets you dragged back in. This is a mistake. This is no better than the side you're against. I think that's an important point I made there. It's that replacement thing. It's all the same game. Now, my point about bringing up Liverpool originally might have been, not sure now, but it could have been that you want to be against the state superstructure, against the propaganda matrix, and yet it doesn't work if you're identifying with something else. It's a power symbol, it just sucks you back in. So, level 4 is where you've seen through yourself. Seeing through yourself is seeing through your power symbols. No exceptions. No exceptions. No, oh, but I can have this, I can have that, I can have this. It's not a cherry picking exercise. You can't have something as a power identification and claim to be against power. You're either for power and just trying to just destroy everything, or you're getting over it. So we have to get over. Stage 4 is where we've got over our own evil. When we've got over our own evil, there isn't much left, and isn't that relief to get beyond all of this shit show. And it is the Mount Everest. Imagine Mount Everest, right? Except instead of being, literally imagine Mount Everest, right? Literally imagine being there at the on land, looking up at it, right next to it. And it's massive, you think, it's huge. My God, people have climbed that. But instead of seeing snow, see 100% of Mount Everest being literal shit. That is what our heads are. My head, your head, everyone else's head. Full of shit. Mount Everest size. And that is an understatement. We're more full of shit than Mount Everest. Me, you, everyone else. Let's say I am full of shit. I am full of shit. That's better. That's how we've got to think. Now, stage 4 then, having got rid of a Mount Everest full of shit. And some people go through this. Some people say I did have a head full of shit, and they go through all of it. They say I was absolutely effing crazy. And you get that at the top, people at the top, people at the bottom, people in the middle. They've got plenty of people who are claim to have been economically right wing, economically left wing, everything. Everyone's gone over it and said they got full of shit and it took them years to get out of it. Heard that lots of times. So this does happen. People do manage to break through. So it requires abolition of the, in your mind, the Westminster's cartel. So no news media, no Downing Street, no Parliament. These are absolutely simple to see through now. This is like pretty much level 1 for Brits. Most people see through that, I think, now. I don't think I'm needing to preach much on that at all. And I think that without manipulation from the top, I think people would be cooperative. That seems to be the trend. And I also, when you see things like "I'm a celebrity, get me out of here" in the jungle, they cooperate. There's not much power tripping going on. It's not perfect, but I think generally people meet in the streets as well, which is a simpler version for everyday life. I think they're cooperative until something gets on the propaganda matrix. Something's plucked from the propaganda matrix and all the power comes rushing in as it does, because the propaganda matrix can't function without power. So they have to infect people's heads. Now, I think that people are, when they're not going on about propaganda matrix stuff, are cooperative, except adolescents and kids and stuff. But by definition, adolescents haven't grown up yet. I mean, I'm not getting at people of certain ages. It's the same. Everyone's been there. Everyone's been adolescent. So when you mature out of that, and that's fine. But it's propaganda stuff from the state superstructure that's more serious. It infects adults. And you see adults who do see through to some extent. Some of them will think, "Oh, I'm going to vote Trump to stick it to the establishment," and then Trump's in and think, "Oh, Jesus Christ, that was even worse than I thought. I'm going to re-vote the establishment." And these people think they've seen through everything, but they're caught in the system. It's the JFK thing, you know what I mean? They're on the hamster wheel, and they're seen through the propaganda matrix, they think, but they're going round and round the propaganda matrix like this. And while thinking they've seen through, they're bloody well caught going round and 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 round. You see, that's still stuck in these stages. So to see through the propaganda matrix at stage 4, you sort of end up thinking F modernity, F the economy, F the whole state, F the whole lot of them, right? And once you F the whole lot of them, what you're left is with people. That's all that's left. Cooperative people. There's nothing else you can identify with, nothing else to attach to, nothing. There's just people. And if there's just people, then I think there'll be cooperation. There should just have to no attachment to power symbols, none whatsoever. There's just people. That's all you are left with. I'm not on about some kind of not quite on about a Tolstoyan farm sort of thing. If you live on a farm and you're out in the sticks, then yeah, that's maybe how you should look at it. For someone, for other people who don't live in some kind of farm life, where it's just people about, maybe they just have to think about the cooperation each day. Just that maybe it's like, maybe it's easy to imagine being out in the sticks in this situation, but it's just about up here really, that it's all gone, all that poison's gone, it's all been sucked out of your head, put in the toilet, chain flushed, gone. We just needn't think about what replaces it, because nothing is meant to replace it, because that's an identification, that's getting sucked right away back in. What it is it's just flushing all the poison down the toilet. Or it's incinerating the Mount Everest pile of literal shit. Just totally incinerating it. So that is the goal for you. The goal for you is to incinerate all of this. Now, if there's none of these power things going crazy in the world, I think that people would be cooperative, and that's all there is to it. So, but there's no identification with anything. That's all gone. Can't say I think such and such and such and such because, and then bring in power, 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 power. Please protect me. I'm so insecure. That's what attachment and identification is with these power symbols. It's psychological insecurity. It's weakness. It's like needing protection. It's like needing people to protect your fragile ego. And then these same people will lash out viciously to make themselves look hard when it's just to protect their emotions, to protect their vibe, to protect their feeling, to protect what they want to think is right and what's wrong, etc. It's all protecting insecurity. That's all that is. Just get rid of it all. Because people who have all that have got a mind that is suffocated. It's possessed by power. They're possessed, their mind's been possessed by the propaganda matrix. So yeah, get rid of all of it, flush it all down the toilet, be free. End the video.